So we did hear about it reopening on Wednesday. I had a guest on Monday. I did ask if he could, in his busy schedule, make a little window for me. Peter Kavanagh is Unites London and Eastern Regional Secretary. Joins me now. Good day to you, Peter. Thanks very much for being true to your word and coming back on.
Hi, Eddie. How you doing?
I'm all right. I've got to say, this is going to be a wide-reaching conversation. Let's get to it. Transport makes up part of it, business, reopening, confidence. I'm imagining all of that will be reflected within the membership that you represent. How has it been generally for your members returning to work today?
Yeah, we have seen a large number of people going back to work in London here. The buses are increasingly filling up. We've had reports from Uxbridge, Acton, Stratford, Canning Town, Wembley of real overcrowding taking place on the buses. We've got pictures of the tube where we've got the same issues taking place. In terms of the return to work generally, I think when we spoke on Monday, Eddie, the documents were still just about to be published. We've got the documents now. There's some good stuff in those documents, helped along by the input from the trade unions. But from our point of view, they're still far too advisory in nature and not prescriptive enough. It says, for example, people may wear face masks at work. They should try and maintain distancing. They should be risk assessments. Risk assessments are no good if they're just a one-off. They need to be continually updated and in consultation with representatives of the workers in those workplaces. And, of course, we would want trade unions to be doing that. We've suffered enormously from mixed messages this week. We've got some really good examples on construction sites where we've worked with the employer, where they've consulted with the union, but it's been done in a gradual way over 2 or 3 weeks leading.
There's no precedent for. I listened to the briefing today, and I must say he is right, isn't he? When he says there's no precedent for this. We are to some extent reacting to something that nobody could have anticipated in terms, obviously, the virus, but not in terms of the residual impact.
Yeah, correct. And there's issues about. Does the economy come before health, or is it the other way around? And from the union's point of view, we're very clear. We need a strong economy. Our members need to feel secure that they've got secure futures in their workplaces, but it must not be at the expense of working people. And the issue for the union is that, how we unlock the economy and how we support those parts of the economy that can't be unlocked. There's been some good work around the furloughing. We appreciate that. But there's also been the downside. There's been the scandal of shortages of PPE. There's the cut in the health and safety executive inspectorate, because all the health and safety work that's going to be done over the next few weeks, it needs to be up to standard. It needs to be inspected.
Well, I'm going to ask you these questions. It doesn't mean I disagree with you. It's only that I can see the time. £336 billion, okay? That's going to be the cost. There's no government that can continue hemorrhaging money like that, paying, 7.5 million people, 80%, in order to stay at home. That balance of where health of the economy and the health of personnel is balanced out is always going to be subjective, isn't it, Peter?
I think it's got to be greater than subjective. It's got to be governed by what's right and fair, what's legal, and there are legal protections for working people in this country. Unfortunately, they don't extend to many people in the gig economy. They don't extend to self-employed people. But workers do have rights. They are able to remove themselves from serious and imminent danger. The law makes that very clear. And in order to make sure that we don't have to revert to those sort of methods of removing yourself from work, we need to do proper risk assessments. So we are absolutely all for getting the economy up and running. But the mad dash we've seen, Sunday night, Boris Johnson saying we're all back to work in the morning, and then saying, oh dear, sorry, we didn't mean that, it's Wednesday. We don't understand why there was that mad dash, and it has led to confusion. It's led to fear. I was with bus drivers yesterday who are already saying that they are frightened out of their lives. We've had 30 bus workers have died in the last 7 weeks. We've put lots of measures in place, but we do now feel that the buses are becoming a magnet for the virus. Overcrowding will lead to a really, really sense of danger for everybody. For the drivers, they've got a right to remove themselves if they feel a threat. But the law also says if the threat extends to those around them. So we're calling for maximum loads on the buses. We can't have this situation where it's all laissez-faire, hoping that people will be sensible, hoping that people will distance. They can't safely distance on a bus if there's 35, 40 people cramming on. And we saw that today. And unless the government comes out with very strict rules, not guidance, rules, they're trying to tell people they need to be 2 meters apart on a bus or a tube, but there are no rules about capacity. There needs to be extra funding for more buses. They need to move away in London from the Sunday schedules that they're currently operating on, because as part of the efforts to address the fact that there was over 1,000 bus drivers were off sick or isolating, they went to a Sunday service. The Sunday service reflects the late opening of shops. Workers are now going back to work. We need to get more buses out in the peak times to avoid the overcrowd we've seen today, Eddie.
And you've got to make sure those fellas, ladies, they feel safe, and that's going to be really, really important. I just want to ask you this. Interesting, in that briefing, there was question after question. And I saw, with all due respect to Sky Report yesterday, which fed into this, the social care aspect of it, hospitals wanting to get people out, putting them in care homes when temperatures are probably higher than they would otherwise expect people to go into. I just wonder, do you have members in care homes? And what's your view of the situation?
We've got an increasing number of members in care homes. This pandemic has actually made a lot of people working in those industries, which are low paid, oftentimes no trade union agreements. We've got a lot of people now joining, and I hope. I think I said this on Monday. I hope that some good things come out of this terrible crisis we've been through in terms of recognition of the worth of jobs like carers. But it's certainly been a poor cousin, hasn't it? It's been a sort of second-class citizen to the NHS. It's an extension of the NHS. We've seen that from the pandemic, and it needs to have proper funding. It needs to have proper respect and dignity for the workers and decent wages for them.